Hello. Hey everybody. I don't know if this is working just yet, but we're about to find out. We're in the early phase of a live stream where I just sort of talk to myself and hope that people are hearing me somewhere as I pull up the exact same live stream on my phone, like a grandma, having to listen to the radio while she's calling into the radio. Okay. Okay. Well, it does seem to be that my voice is transmitting live across the internet. How exciting must that be for everyone? Um, we're gonna get, hey everybody. Oh, everybody jumped in kind of all at once. Hi everybody. I'm just sharing this link in the little Discord server we made. Um, for fun. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? I'm just gonna be on here for, maybe an hour or two. I have some stuff to take care of later, and I have some work that I've got to get to. But for right now, next hour or so, I'm going to be doing this. Isn't that exciting? Okay. Everything is all set up, and we can start doing a little drawing. Um, Last time I took requests from everybody the whole time, and, it was a little, it was a little chaotic, but that's okay. So for this one, I figure I'm probably only going to do, a couple of drawings across the whole stream because we only got an hour or two. But if anybody has any good ideas for something that everybody would like to see, just let me know. Let's see. Struggling with a game to play with the dudes. I've never played a game once in my entire life, so I can't help you there. You big on tennis? I don't know. Tucker and a silly hat. Okay, that's a pretty simple one, but sure. I've had to draw Tucker and the other two guys from non-starters. I've had to draw them about a million times already, and I'm still trying to figure out like little things about them. Like today, I was doing a bunch of drawings of Tucker, and I was trying to see if it would suit him better if I started drawing his hair as if it was three-dimensional. Like, because his hair is the same no matter which way he's facing. It's just a graphic symbol. So here we go. There's his forehead. So his hair is always one big swoop at the forehead, and then a bunch of little guys back to his hairline, right? And I was trying to figure out if it would be, and it's the same no matter which way he turns. When he turns, it's just one big thing and then a bunch of little guys, you know. But then of course, if you sit there and logically think about it, that doesn't make any sense because then from the front, what would that look like from the front? If he always has this thing on the side of his head, it can't be on both sides, So I was trying to figure out, well, geez, if I was drawing him realistically, it would be all this hair over here, and then the reverse angle, not the reverse angle, the other side of Tucker would have to be like that, where there's a lot less hair. And I just thought it looked worse than just drawing it the same both ways, even though it was more correct. So, even though I've drawn these guys 100 times, I'm still figuring out as I work on their little model sheets, their little pilot and everything, still figuring out how I want to handle things like that. Like it's not terrible or anything to have him actually have a part in his hair. Um, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I just think it's better if somehow illogically both ways it's the same shape. You know? See you soon. Colin was here. You have a great time. Hello. Can people hear me and stuff? I can't even tell. Yeah, he is a cartoon character. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him looking the same from both sides. It's a perfectly acceptable cheat, but I feel like it looks better, you know, if you cheat it. Anyway, somebody wanted Tucker wearing a silly hat. That's a nice, simple request to get started. Okay, I'm glad several people can hear me. I'm sorry I keep asking. I've had I'm such a grandma. I've had so many bad experiences trying to do live streams in the past. The last one went pretty well, all things considered, on NPR. You guys big fans of all things considered. I'm sure that's getting a big laugh out there in streamer land. Everybody's giggling. Oh, how droll. He invoked NPR's All Things Considered. Okay, what's a funny hat? Um, someone said Felix the cat. Felix the cat is just like a big honking circle, right? Make a hat that looks like Felix the cat eating your head. Give it big weird eyes. Those old-timey pie slice eyeballs, yeah. That's got to be what Felix the cat looks like. Right, then you got big nose here. And we have to convey that this is his mouth engulfing a head. So we're going to draw that little muzzle shape that animals have on their mouths. There we go. Oh yeah, this is coming together great, guys. Everybody's a huge fan of this. All right, and then cat ears. How do I need to make it clear that it's a hat though. But I feel like if I do this and I like add a stitch, it's going to look like taxidermy. You know what I mean? I feel like that's going to make it look like it's a stuffed cat. What are people saying? Sounds like a conversation in the universe of how Tucker's hair is. I mean, I'm trying to do less fourth wall breaky stuff with the three guys, trying to make them more into living characters. But I guess I did. Some people thought it was like a joke because in one of them I had one of them say, "Come on, that's stupid. That's like in a cartoon." And then people were like, "Haha, that's funny. They're in a cartoon." And when I wrote that, it had not even occurred to me that it's just a thing I say frequently in real life. That, oh, come on, that's like a cartoon. Just as a sense of like, you know, when someone does something that's like selfish and you just can't believe how selfish it is, that kind of thing. A shorter drawing stream. This is a message from, I think it says Anna Lee. A shorter drawing stream. I don't see anything short about this drawing. Unless this is a character who looks like Tucker named Samuel Shorts, king of the short shorts. Here's the problem with that. Shorter than what? You know, Tucker may be taller, but he's shorter than Shaq. Gravity 3779 asked, which program are you drawing in? Right now I'm drawing in a program called Rough Animator, all one word. And the reason I started using Rough Animator was because you can get it on the iPad. It's one of those one-time payment things, and I hate subscriptions for everything. I have about 1 million subscriptions because that's the way the world is, but I like kind of simple stuff that you pay for once and it keeps working. Rough Animator is pretty great. No, I have not been paid to endorse Rough Animator. Never been paid to do anything in my life. But Rough Animator, great app. Use it all the time. Some of the cartoons on my channel I've done in Rough Animator instead of Toon Boom because it's really convenient to have a program that you can work on the iPad. And, you know, therefore I can work on cartoons when I'm traveling and stuff. Don't always have to be tethered to a computer that has Toon Boom. There we go. So this is Tucker in some sort of creepy cat hat. I was told to make a funny hat, and I guess I just sort of whiffed it. But there we go. Let's all imagine this is a wonderful, great hat in real life. Give it a little more fold so it looks like it's squishing up by the eyes. That's actually made it a little better. A hot dog hat. Well, hello, Dark Sun. Thank you for saying something and then leaving. You know, I used to have a switch comb. Wow, like a cool guy. Can you do Winnie the Pooh or Tigger? Yeah, I could probably do that. Hello, Luke's backup account, who said hello. What is more comfortable, traditional or digital? Asks Sparkle Bell. Tell you right now, Sparkle Bell, I much prefer drawing on paper. You know what I mean? I kind of want to start doing live streams of traditional art because I feel like not only do I work faster, but it's a lot more fun for me. I'm trying to draw like a Winnie the Pooh from memory right now. See how close I can get before I break down and Google it. But anyhow, yeah, traditional I find much more comfortable. Digital stuff has huge advantages. I mean, for God's sake, there's an undo button that's very useful and stuff. I just find that I work a little better the other way. Winnie the Pooh have eyebrows? Bet he does. This feels close enough to Winnie the Pooh, right? I love Winnie the Pooh so much. I should be able to draw him from memory, but alas, I haven't got that. Haven't got that in the old noodle, but this is pretty close, right? And then his shirt is always so weird. It's like a V-neck, right? Doesn't he have a V-neck? Did I make that up? I think it's that his like you can kind of always see the collar kind of thing. Like you always see his little, right? Am I inventing things about Winnie the Pooh? There we go. There we go. This is what Winnie the Pooh looks like. Oh yeah, 100%. This would identify him. You know, it might not be on model enough for a proper, like merchandise or something, but gall darn it, this would identify Winnie the Pooh should he ever commit a crime. If the cops showed you this sketch, you'd be like, oh, that's Winnie the Pooh, you know? And sometimes that's really all you need. Okay, so to match the other side, his thumb should be more looking at like the top of these, right? Give him little stitches. Now, not all the Winnie the Pooh characters are stuffed animals. For some reason, Rabbit and Owl are real animals. And all the ones that are stuffed animals have these little black dot eyes, but you'll notice that Rabbit and Owl have whites in their eyes, right? Except for some reason, Eeyore, who is the most stuffed animal of all of them because he has that removable tail, Eeyore also has whites in his eyes. So it's not actually a real rule, and I'm just a weirdo. Hello, Melvin. Let's see, it says Melvin de Leon says, hi, I love your drawings. That's all I want to say. Well, thank you. I love doing drawings. Pedanticism, or preposterously pedantic, says to anyone who here who's seen The Producers, which is better, 1967 or 2005, the whole world will tell you 1960s Producers is better. But me, I love the musical so much. I infinitely prefer the musical, including the movie, which I know some people do not like because they say it's very flatly directed, to which I would say, I don't care. I want to watch The Producers for the 100th time. There we go. That's kind of what Winnie the Pooh looks like, right? Close enough. That's what I say. Anyone else have a cute idea for a doodle? Oh, sorry, that was the program name I wrote down. Doesn't need to be on the slide. Let's see. Coloring is great on digital. Yeah, I mean, I also think I do better coloring work traditionally, but I'm just not a good colorist either way. Oh, hello, Marshebi. I hope I'm saying that right. Marshebi says, I recently subbed to your Patreon. I love your work. Thank you so much. People don't have to donate to Patreon, but it's very nice of them when they do, and it makes me very happy. It makes me feel very supported, so thank you. I always thought Eeyore was a real animal. That would make it horrible to be nailing him. Yes. His Antion says, do you see my messages? I see that message. I don't know what other messages you've sent, but I can really only see the top, like, 3 or 4 most recent messages. Maybe I could draw Kirby, says Luke's backup account. Sure I could. It'll take no time at all. For Kirby, as you may well know, is a ball of some kind. Some sort of a living ball creature. What pose do we want Kirby in? Should have a really dynamic and exciting Kirby pose. So I feel like what we're implying with these shapes here is that this is sort of the top of the shoe, right? I feel like, like that's, if we imagine this is the center, right? I feel like that's kind of the angle of that shoe we're getting. And then this one, we're clearly seeing the bottom of the shoe, right? We could black all this out if we wanted. That's the bottom of the shoe. So I feel like now what we've done is we've implied that Kirby must be like twisting his body, right? Because that's the bottom of the shoe, or sorry, that's the top of the shoe, that's the bottom of a shoe. He must be kind of like leaping or something, right? That's the only reason it would look like that. Yeah. We want his arms up or down. What do we want to do with that? He's leaping. So let's have his arm kind of lifting up as if this is what's twisting this side of his body to move forward. And then, no, that's not right either. Where do his arms need to go to make this pose work? Let me see. I feel like his eyes are up there, right? I'm sorry, you're all hearing me mutter as I figure out the posing and anatomy of a Kirby drawing of the ball. Something like that, right? And then I feel like I don't know where this, oh, you know what? This arm would be closer to the camera, right? Maybe that's the answer. So we just treat it more dimensionally. That's the bottom of his arm. And then, well, now it just kind of looks like he's waving, but is that such a bad thing? Does he need to be leaping into battle? No one asked for Kirby killing anyone. They asked for Kirby, gosh darn it. Maybe we'll, yeah, get a little wavy with the arms there. And then he's got a highlight. I know he has a highlight at the top. I feel like he has one at the bottom, too. Something like that. He doesn't have eyebrows, that's for sure. Draw Theodore and Pooh hanging out together, an activity you think they'd like to do together. And then someone says, give Kirby realistic hands. What do I think of the new Coyote versus Acme trailer? I thought it was good. I think that movie's going to be a good time. I really wish it was all done in 2D instead of that fake 3D that's supposed to look 2D. Nothing will ever be as egregious as when they had to do it for Chip and Dale. I know that that's like a budget thing. But in Chip and Dale, the plot revolves around one of them getting quote unquote CGI surgery. So like the whole movie is relying on one of them being 2D and the other being 3D, and they're both clearly 3D animated. One just has the toon shader kind of thing going on. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think anything will ever be as egregious as that movie, just because it was written into the plot, and then Disney wouldn't give them enough money to execute the premise they greenlit. Like, I just think that's nonsense. But Coyote versus Acme, it's not making such a big stink about it. So whatever. It's a thing where they're convinced that they have to do that for the budget, and I never believe that. People say that all the time. They're like, "Oh, well, it's so much cheaper to do the 3D and make it look like 2D." To which I would say, I think it's just easier to find people you can pay less. I don't think one is inherently more costly than the other. I think it's truly just that the 3D people are often visual effects workers, so they're not in the cartoonist guild or anything, right? And they don't have to be paid what an animator is paid, even though they're an animator and they're animating a character, right? So I feel like that's the excuse, the real answer. Plus, I also think if you're an executive who doesn't know how to make things, it makes you a little more comfortable when someone can, at some point in the process, tell you, and then a computer does it. I think if you're like a dumb guy and you've like never actually made anything in your life, when people explain animation to you, it's this like tedious, laborious process, and you don't totally get it, and but then when someone can like cuddle up to an executive and say like, right, but this is the part where a computer takes over. I think that is like a big like, oh, thank God. No one knows how it works. The computer must do it. And the answer, of course, is that, no, man, like people still have to work. Everything that the computer shows you is just because a person tells it to. Like, but whatever. I think that's somehow comforting to executives and to non-creative people. Like if you think about when someone starts explaining a concept you don't understand, like, an airplane, right? Someone starts explaining an airplane to you, and it's like, there's thrust and aerodynamics and whatever, and you're just zoning out because you don't know at all. um you're just totally like, yeah, whatever, okay, great, buddy. And then you get this little relief of like, well, you know what, the pilot's using autopilot, so computers kind of do a lot of the flying anyway, so it's like, it's fine that I don't get it. I think there's a little bit of that to the 3D 2D thing. I honestly don't believe that the costs are that different. Because if you're saying, well, the reason they always do 3D instead of 2D is a budgetary issue, why does Inside Out 2 cost $200 million? That's more than any hand-drawn Disney movie ever cost. Hand-drawn Disney movies didn't exist long enough to enter the era of movies costing $400 million. So I don't know what the hell anyone's talking about. That seems like a lie to me. I think it's just union stuff. I think it's cowardice. I think it's a lot of things, but whatever, man. Somebody asked for, let's see. Toon filter reminds me of Fortnite shading. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read stuff. I'm just trying to catch up. Okay. A lot of Disney. Yeah. Disney's not a, whatever. I don't run a multi-billion-dollar company, I guess. But it sure seems to me like creativity is taking a back street. A live stream this close to bedtime, how daring. Is it this close to bedtime for people? It's 8 o'clock. I don't ever sleep, so I have to be somewhere at 10 p.m. So that's why I'm doing this, is because I have work to do, but I don't want to like get too into it and then have to stop at 10. So kind of killing time with a live stream, talking to nice people on the internet. I'm sure if I did this, for some reason, they actually seem to be better attended on weekends, which I don't know how true that is in general. Could you draw a dog with a cool hat? I already had to draw Tucker with a funny hat, but a dog with a cool hat? Sure, I'll do that for you. Because we seem to be pretty chill about requests tonight. People aren't throwing them in too much. It's a quick Vivian cartoonish. Something like that. All right. Oh, bedtime. Oh, bedtime is 9 for X Stick Buddy X. Well, I hope you get plenty of rest tonight. Waking up early is a thing I've never mastered. Okay, dog in a cool hat. What's a dog look like? Anybody ever heard of dogs? What do I draw a dog like? I'm so used to drawing other people's cartoon dogs. I don't really have a dog character of my own. Just draw Scooby-Doo in a hat. Scooby-Doo's a dog. He can have a cool hat. Scooby-Doo's got kind of a rat nose when you look at it. Or perhaps I've simply made him too rat-like. In my supreme arrogance, I've rendered Scooby-Doo in a manner befitting only the lowliest of vermin. Let's see, we got little eyes. Specific breed of dog would you like to draw? That's a great question. Right now, I'm drawing Scooby-Doo unless I think of something better. Scooby-Doo is, of course, a Great Dane, but he doesn't really look that much like a Great Dane, you know. Marmaduke. Now there's a Great Dane. One of the best of all time. I feel like Scooby-Doo's eyes are maybe tinier than that, right? How we feeling about these Scooby eyes? I feel like the Scooby eyes are smaller than that, and I feel like I've exaggerated them in my mind. I think they're small and beady. I think he's a coward is what I think of Scooby-Doo. His eyes touch? No, they can't be that close. No, they wouldn't have dared to let Scooby-Doo's eyes touch. Back in 1969, forget it. America wasn't ready for that. Nowadays, maybe. You know, Be Cool Scooby-Doo. I feel like they might have had eyes that touch. They had that very Schoolhouse Rock look to them. That show was good. That show got a bad rap right out the gate. People said it looked like Family Guy, but it was funny. It's a funny show. I enjoyed it. It's about as good as a lot of the Scooby-Doo shows. I'm a big Scoob head, but I also think, not everything related to Scooby-Doo is so great, and I would put Be Cool Scooby-Doo above quite a few of them. His chin's jutting out too much. I could just Google a picture of Scooby-Doo and be done with this, or grab one of the many Scooby-Doos that seems to be sitting in this room. Oh, someone has asked now, draw Scooby with Scrappy-Doo under his hat. That's funny. And then the other one, oh, Jimothy the Raccoon. I drew Jimothy the other day, but I'll do a quick Jimothy, and then somebody wants a rat who is really happy because he just found some food. Okay. And then Ghosty Goo. Oh, Gotti Goo? Goaty Goo. Heaven forgive me. Someone has said, I like your cartoons, funny man. If you so please, draw Fish Girl. And I will, because they were very nice and sent a super chat, which no one has to do. But I think they did a great job of that. So, to accommodate 2 requests at once, we're going to add a Scrappy-Doo on top of Scooby's head. And you're going to see just how little I know about the design of Scrappy-Doo from memory, because, man, oh man, do I not know where this is going. I feel like he's just a little head, right? Am I nuts? I feel like Scrappy-Doo is almost just, his whole body is like a little bean or something. Okay, so there's this little paw standing on Scooby's head, right? His leg is back there, and so the other one can be there. And we'll have him coming out like ta-da kind of thing. There's his big mouth. Right? His eyes are maybe even... His eyes are probably bigger. He's a little kid character. Is that what Scrappy-Doo looks like? That doesn't feel right at all. Yeah, I just drew like a tiny Scooby-Doo head. But whatever. Okay, and then he's going to be popping out of Scooby's hat. So we'll draw him shoving the hat aside. And then Scooby's other ear going to be right here, going to be pushed down onto his head. Scooby-Doo is wearing a baseball cap. Scooby-Doo is wearing a normal baseball cap, but it was backwards on his head like a cool guy. So that's what Scoob was up to before this punk Scrappy came in here, knocked the darn thing off his head. How's that? Reposition this so it's not so cut off. There you go. That's Scrappy-Doo popping out of Scooby-Doo's hat. That's close enough, right? We all feel that's right? I like your cartoons, funny man. Okay, a fish girl. What do fish girls look like? Are we thinking Creature from the Black Lagoon? Or are we thinking mermaid lady? You know, or just like fish girl. I guess the idea was to leave it open to interpretation. Do we want to give her a tail, maybe? I don't know. Yada-da-da-da-da, puppy power. Am I familiar with Sly Cooper? No, I don't know anything about Sly Cooper. I'm sorry. I know my friend Anthony does. That doesn't help you at all because he's not doing a live stream right now. But it was one of those things I just said compulsively because I forgot I'm supposed to be entertaining people while I do this. But that's okay. What makes a fish girl? Let's see. Shrink her down a little bit. There we go. Give her the what's it called? Le Grand Odalisque or whatever, that famous painting of the woman reclining. Give her that kind of thing. Yeah, and then so then her torso is like this. She's gonna have kind of a pinup girl thing. Am I able to? This is Mouse. Seems to be the name. I is Mouse. I is Mouse. Says, am I able to commission you for a simple birthday card or something? Yeah, sure. You can always email me. I think my email should be easy enough to find on the channel, but it's Daniel Holt email, gmail.com. I feel like that's not too dangerous to say. It's publicly available info. Yeah, you can always email me, and if you need a commission or something, I'll see what I have time to do. But, you know, I'm not promising anything, but I'll try to get that for you, if that's something your boyfriend would like. Oh, thank you. Tess came in just to say, I think that's right, or Tessum, I apologize, came in and they just wanted to chime in and say your cartoons are comfy and silly and inspiring. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry it was the most difficult sentence I've ever tried to say in my life for some reason. Yeah, thank you. That was very sweet of you. It's possible maybe draw Snow White. Well, I'll see. We're not doing this for too long tonight, but we might get to Snow White. But first, I'm doing myself little fish girl. Part of a request. Doing a little fish girl. What's a fish girl? If your characters (parenthesis non-starters) were in Scooby-Doo universe, who would they be? Oh, it's Tessa. Thank you. So. What were the kids saying? Oh, Scooby-Doo characters. You know, I think obviously Tucker, very Shaggy-esque character already. I guess Dodson would be Scooby because he, like, you know, seems like a happy guy. You know what I mean? He's like kind of and he seems to be a little duo with Tucker, right? Ronnie, I guess, is Velma because he's level-headed, I guess. What if Fish must have weird eyes, right? I want to give her like kind of a sultry pose and everything, but then just have her be like full on Creature from the Black Lagoon. But I'm trying to get like the pose first, you know? So is it big? The eyes are on the opposite side of the head, I feel like. And I'm gonna black them out I'm gonna black them out. Oh, sorry, I realized I was covering my mouth. I'm gonna black them out just to make them look kind of creepy. This isn't what a fish's eyes look like, but it's like a cartoon shorthand eyeball that I've used quite a few times. She should have like half closed eyelids. Like she should still have like Marilyn Monroe like lids on these eyes, right? Yeah, I think it's the shaping. I think the shaping is what's gonna make them look like eyes, right? You guys are really watching me like struggle to figure something out in real time. But maybe that's good. Maybe it's good. Okay. Someone says, man, you are inspiring me to draw more human characters, a part of my more mechanical ones. You know, you can always draw the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. Not actually mechanical, but, you know, there you go. Somebody says Dodson gives off Fred vibes for me. I guess that depends which Fred you're talking about, but sure. There are some sweet goofball Freds in the Scooby-Doo canon. Yeah, there we go. I just had to draw them like people eyes first, and that helped me figure it out. So that's her, yeah, and we'll give her like drag queen eyebrows, because that's always good. Always good to have a character with drag queen eyebrows, yeah. And then SpongeBob, such a great shorthand for fish mouth. These little things that stick off the side there. I realize now she's looking quite a bit like that alien character from my Alien Tries to Comprehend Love cartoon, but that's okay. There we go. And then, where would you put gills on a human being? I guess they'd be like over here on the side of the head or something. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's giving it a little Creature from the Black Lagoon look. Okay, let's give her like a fin. Straight up got a fin. Straight up got a fin though. She do kind of be having a fin, as the kids say. Do I sound old enough yet? Have I like brought up a movie from the 20s yet or something? Kind of reminds me of the alien that wants protoplasm. Yeah, it's very similar. How did you come up with the voices for the non-starters trio? That's a good question. Honestly, they were not. If I came up with them knowing that they were going to be characters I would use again, I would have given them very different voices for sure. But I'm just stuck with them now because that's the way they came out. Tucker, that's a voice that I had started doing for audiobooks. I've done occasional audiobooks to make money, and not that I've ever made that much of it doing them, to be honest with you. But I did like audiobooks. And the first one I ever did, they wanted me to do two characters who had like, they were like similar age, same name kind of thing, and they wanted to really differentiate them. And I don't remember what voice I did initially, but they were like, could you try to give the other guy like a younger, like light, like higher pitched kind of voice? And I didn't want him to be like, hi everybody, because I think that's annoying. So I was like, I guess, yeah, I like kind of messed around with like a little, what's like a little kid, like the sort of Elroy Jetson voice, like little kid voice. And then, it just sort of turned into this over time. And then I used this for a couple other audiobooks and things. And so it was just a stock voice that I'd done for a couple of things. And when I made that first short, I didn't think they were going to be recurring characters or anything. So I just kind of went ahead and gave him whatever voices sounded good. So he had that one, and then Dodson sounded exactly like Teddy from Bob's Burgers, because that's a voice I can't stop doing. I can't stop talking like this. And over time, I've tried to make Dodson sound a little different, but every video I do, people just leave comments saying that he sounds like Teddy anyway. So kind of stuck with that for now. Maybe I can find another better way to differentiate it, so it's more clear that it's not him. We've got the makings of a fish girl here, I think. Let's give her an outfit. Let's give her a little outfit, yeah. She's at the beach, but she is half girl. So give her a little bikini. Should she just have a tail instead of legs? Is that funnier? I don't know. Give her shoes. Draw a heel. That's a badly drawn heel. Why didn't anyone say anything to me? You guys couldn't have just watched by and let that have sat by. Forgive me, I'm not at my most eloquent today. This is all very impromptu. I just thought this would be a fun way to kill some time. And yet you people keep haranguing me and calling me names. Let's see. Let me see what people have sent. How did I come up for the voices? I said that. Dodson gives off Fred. Cthulhu's girlfriend. Someone says, draw pinup Gam Gam. I'll do that. That's funny. I had to go do the dishes. Your voice is very nice and silly background noise. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad I'm not driving you mad, which is what would happen if I had to hear my own voice this much. But let's see. Someone says, oh my God, you're still alive. Thank God. Yeah, God does some good stuff. I like his work. Not all of it, but, Trying to picture Dodson saying treasure. Treasure. Let me see. Hang on. I feel like Treasure is a little difficult for this voice. You gotta get that Treasure. I don't know about that. The Fitness Grand Pacer test is a multi-state aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. Huh. I love your voiceover work. This is from Miranda. Love your voiceover work. In what little I've seen of it. What books did I do? I did a lot. My name is not on a lot of the audiobooks I do. Because a lot of them are real bad, to be honest with you. Like I don't, like sometimes it's fine, and I'll like leave my name on it. Like I think there's a book out there that's called like The Beginner's Guide to Beekeeping, and I think that might have my real name on it. There's also other guys named Danny Holt, so whatever. But yeah, would you have heard of any books I did? I did one gay like smut book that was really fun, and I really wished I got to do more of those. I guess never say never. I guess someone else could hire me to do smut, but I got hired to do one of those. That was fun. I think that was called Hold the Door was the name of that one. Um, not dirty enough for my taste. If I'm gonna read a smut book, I feel like it should have a lot of smut. But that one was a little tame. I did a series of really good books that were called, well, they didn't have one name, but they're, you might have heard of like the Alexis Parker books. Um, they're these like thriller mystery novels by an author named G.K. Parks. And then there's also spin-offs of that about different detective characters. And I did a series that was a guy called Julian Mercer. So those are fun books. Again, you can find all this. You just look up G.K. Parks if you're interested, if you want to hear a thriller or mystery type book. They're really good. But I did quite a few of those. I did the Julian Mercer ones and a character named Lucian Cross I did. And Julian Mercer was British, so I had to do all those as a British guy. And then Lucian Cross, his assistant, has the exact same voice as Tucker. His assistant was named Justin. And I would just basically do this exact same thing. Maybe a little less cartoony, but honestly, knowing me, it was just as cartoony in the finished book. That was part of the problem with me as an audiobook narrator, is that I can do lots of voices and I can get emotional with the storytelling or whatever. But I feel that I have a very cartoony sensibility, and I think for a lot of books that wasn't right. The G.K. Parks ones were great because they had like funny banter and they had action scenes and they had lots of different characters, so the doing the funny accents helped. I don't know if you all heard a loud thud. My sister's dog is here. And he's running about. But anyway, you guys are cool. Thank you. Julian Mercer seems right up my alley. Yeah, those were fun to do because I got to play a bunch of British people. But I did have to read several novels in this exact voice and this tone, pretending I was a very serious British man, when in reality I am not. But I just read a bunch of books like this, pretended I was British. And then the Lucian Cross ones were just my speaking voice, kind of. But they were fun to do. Let me do Gam Gam, old-timey pinup girl. This is a little disturbing, because she does kind of look like my grandma, but whatever. A stranger on the internet told me to do it. How could I not draw a Gam Gam pinup? She'd be in like a one-piece old-timey bathing suit or something. Would that be funnier? I'll give her like old lady nightgown instead. How about that? Okay, there we go. And then so that's Gam Gam's butt. Okay, if you're just tuning in, we've drawn Gam Gam's butt. And what else do we want to do in there? Make her kind of feel like she's like leaning on a countertop or something, right? I feel like that's what this pose is conveying. Let's maybe shrink her down, make it a slightly more complete scene. Okay, there we go. And then so then her foot would be right here, right? I feel like if you've been watching this, I feel like you're noticing that, or at least I'm noticing that when I draw, I seem to just be literally explaining what's occurring. If I don't have a topic to work from, I just start blandly explaining the drawing. Okay, she's leaning on a car for some reason. I don't know why. I can't draw cars. That was a bad choice. But it feels like a pinup girl thing to do, right? Lean on a car. Okay, so if she's on a car, then maybe she'll just be in her regular Gam Gam clothes, right? Let's do it in an old-timey one-piece bathing suit. I rejected it because it was cliche, but Gam Gam's a very cliche character. So, old-timey one-piece bathing suit it is, which means these should not be sleeves, which means we have to redraw her arms and give her some classic old lady bingo wings, as people will sometimes derisively call them, which is, you know, when your arm starts to sag, you know, as you get older. People are so cruel about aging, but it's going to happen to us all. Okay. The bottom of a shoe. And so I guess we'll keep her slippers. She's usually wearing slippers in the comic. Would you call it a comic? I just call them videos, but people have been calling them comics. I don't think that's right. I think they're just, yeah. Why did I say that then? Danny, you're no good. And you never will be. But people want you to draw Gam Gam. So you got to do it. And then I guess what's like a little cutesy, you like got your finger to your mouth. That's like a pinup girl pose, right? It's not a terrible Gam Gam pinup, I must say. Like not great, but that's about what it would look like, right? Okay, I'm just gonna do the stripes on her real quick, and then we'll call it quits on this slightly disturbing drawing. I just feel like the stripes nicely describe the shapes of the bikini. There you go. So that's Gam Gam. Let me read the chat. I haven't looked at the chat in a minute. Like when the captions on Boomerang on an old Scooby show, instead of saying bananas, it's bananas, says Luke. Well, glad you like that. Do I sound like Batman when I'm pretending to be British? Was I accidentally doing a Batman voice when I was trying to be British? That would make sense. Someone says, sorry, Mercy says, you're really good at voice acting. At the beginning of your cartoon series, I thought you were working with a crew. Then I realized it was just you. Nope, it's all just me so far. Though I really would love to get other voices in the thing. I think I said this last time. I would love to get someone else to do Ronnie's voice in non-starters because he sounds too much like me. I've already got like 5 characters who sound like me. That's not the best Kirby. I feel like there's something up with the curb. You know what I mean? Is it that his face needs to be like down here more? Right? Yeah, that's a little better. Well, there's just no way for me to look up a picture of Kirby and see if I did it right. There's just no way. There we go. The highlights in the eyes look a little better right now. Okay, someone says Bames John. Someone says Gam Gam looks like she's escaping the nursing home. How'd I come up with Gam Gam? Someone left a comment on a video. I made a video for Porky Pig's 90th birthday. Because they used to do all these TV specials that were like, it's Bugs Bunny's 50th birthday. And people were posting online that it was Porky Pig was turning 90. And I was like, oh, well, I'll do a little something with Porky Pig, and it'll be like, you know, truly I just did it as an excuse to do Looney Tunes impressions in a video. So I made a thing where it's Porky Pig's 90th birthday, and then one of the comments on that video was someone left a comment that just said, well, it's my 90th birthday and no one's drawing me. And I thought that would be a funny thing to have like a little old lady saying that, you know. And truly, it was just, you know, it's like the first thought that came to my mind was like, oh, and then it's like the old lady goes on exciting adventures and someone should be drawing a cartoon of her life. And that was the Adventures of Gam Gam. And now I've been kind of stuck making them ever since because people like them. And I don't hate making them or anything. I just feel like just the premise is just so hacky. It like eats me inside a little every time I watch, like every time I make one, I'm like, this is just the grandma from Hoodwinked, you know. So that's kind of why Gam Gam is the way it is because like, if I had to sit down and come up with a cartoon show from scratch, I never would have picked that. But who knows? If you really like Gam Gam, then you know you're probably happy that I didn't sit down and think it out because you enjoy it, and I enjoy it as well, and I like the character, so I don't know why I'm being so whiny. Guess I just like the other stuff I come up with a little more. But whatever. Someone named Cosmic has sent the word hi about 20 times in the chat. So I'm going to say hello and hope that somehow stops it. Twink death is the worst death, says Delta Knight. And then someone else has asked me to draw Susie from Deltarune. Cosmic, please stop writing the word hi 100 times. Seems to be bothering people. All right. I don't know who Susie from Deltarune is, but I'll Google that. Do a quick drawing for you. See what time is it? Oh, it's almost 9. We've been at this for a little while. I don't know why I made him such a nervous Porky Pig. I feel like that's my tendency, is to draw cartoon characters looking a little nervous. You know, but Cosmic, okay, it looks like Cosmic has agreed to stop doing that. We can only hope, we as a society. Otherwise, I'd have to figure out how to stop someone from commenting, and God knows we don't want to watch me figure out technology. So there we go. What am I looking up? I'm looking up Susie from Deltarune. Is that right? Okay, here we go. Susie Deltarune. What's Deltarune? I'm an old man. I don't know what any of this shit is. Okay, I have Googled Susie. This seems to be some manner of dinosaur. Is this a pixel? It looks like pixel arts. I'm getting a lot of pixel art. The pixel thing? God, there's so many. When you Google, I don't know anything about Deltarune, I don't know what this character is. I'll go to another cartoon so you're not staring at a blank screen. I don't know what this is. But whatever it is, I looked it up, and then there was so much fan art that I don't know what I'm supposed to reference as the actual image. I guess it's this pixel art thing, because that seems to be coming up multiple times. So, yeah, I guess it's like a person with hair in front of their eyes. Right? I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry you requested a drawing from a very out-of-touch 25-year-old who likes old-timey things instead of modern things, but okay. So you know what? I'm just going to draw what I'm looking at here, and I'm going to hope that makes you happy somehow. I can only pray and wish and hope. I'm seeing some big tufts of hair. Right? And then like a snout, like a dragon. That kind of thing. Okay. Cheek goes out a little there. And then there's like messy hair down to, let's say, shoulder length. Messy hair. Okay. Boy, man, if everybody had their face covered with hair, drawing would be a lot faster. Maybe I should start coming up with characters you can't see their face. Oh, God, then I wouldn't have to do lip sync, actually. That's a good idea. Longtime viewers of the channel will know that Danny Holt does not enjoy animating lip sync for his characters. It's actually quite tedious, and he much prefers the other parts of the process. Nevertheless, he still goes ahead with it, because, you know, what are you going to do? Just not have their mouths move? I guess some people do that. I don't know. Seems like it would be quitting at that stage, right? You know, you're that far into the cartoon, just do the mouths, right? Can't take more than a day. And yet here I am complaining about it to strangers. What a privileged motherfucker. Okay, there we go. And I will stop doing generic announcer voice. So I think this is what Susie from Deltarune looks like. And now I'm going to open the chat, and people are going to tell me I've been drawing the wrong one the whole time, but whatever. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. You draw Whirl's hollow form from Transformers? Maybe, if I can draw their face, if I could draw their head and it doesn't take long, because I can't, there's no way I can draw a whole Transformer, right? That would take forever. It's a game made by Toby Fox, who made Undertale. A lot of gay people in the games. Got it. Thank you for explaining Deltarune to me so succinctly. I do like Gam Gam, but I like your other stuff, says Marshby. Thank you. I love Theodore. Theodore's my favorite, because he's my little mascot guy. Draw Nightwing or another grown-up Robin, please. I will draw a Nightwing happily, and then maybe I'll see if it's easy to draw Whirl's hollow form from the Transformers. What are we going to draw Nightwing doing? Nightwing. What do I draw Nightwing doing? Gotta be something fun, you know. He's such a fun-loving, fun character. You know, we have to pick like an action pose too, because it's important when you draw superheroes. You know, no matter how much, you know, the audience may sexualize them or something. It's important to remember that these are inspirational characters, you know, and you don't want to put too much emphasis on the sexuality of one of these characters, because that would just be so icky. And I hate, you know, when things make me think about adult situations. That makes me really uncomfortable. And as such, I like to insist that all art must be devoid of any kind of sexuality, because, you know, otherwise I might have to think about things for 3 seconds. And that would just be the end of the world, wouldn't it? You know, if my comfort was not placed above people's basic humanity. You know, that would be really a shame if I had to, like, think about stuff every now and then. Nightwing, how's the ass coming? Ass is coming pretty good. Old man Danny Holt's on another tirade about how he should be allowed to draw whatever butts he wants to. So greedy. Can't just be happy with some butts. Okay. Drawn Nightwing, for those of you just tuning in, or for those of you who could not tell from the sculpted hindquarters. Found a way to talk about butts without being remotely sexy. You call them sculpted hindquarters, and that'll fucking do it. What are people saying? My memory is bad, so I can't remember the title, but I love the skits with the three fellas. Well, thank you. It's called Non-Starters. I'm not remotely offended that people wouldn't know that, because the only time I think I've only ever said the name like once. It's never in the shorts, really. Sometimes I'll write, you know, I'll write it on like the little Patreon card at the end of the cartoon, but no, there's no reason a normal person would know that. But thank you. I'm glad you enjoy them. You have nothing to apologize for. Mr. Holt, we are investigating the allegations against you currently. You'd be wise to tread carefully, says someone whose name looks like Nick O. Mode. Well, if you're going to look into me for the allegations of drawing butts, then by God, lock me away now, because I ain't making it through that trial without doodling some butts in a legal pad. Okay, what's the most, like, over-the-top, like, cartoony face I can give him? Am I just drawing him, like, getting his pants yanked down, like the Coppertone sunscreen thing? Where the kid's, like, pants are being bitten down. Is that what I'm drawing here? Look at that. It looks almost exactly like it. What's wrong with me? That's almost exactly it. I'm a filthy plagiarist. You guys gotta call me out a lot more. Okay. I wonder how I would respond if people really were that upset about, like, the sexuality of my cartoons. It only comes up every once in a while. Like a while ago, I made a silly little video. I was in the grocery store near my house and saw a little cutout of this cinnamon bun. And for whatever reason, the artist in the early 2000s who made this cinnamon bun, all the other, like, food items in the cutouts, they all have, like, little cutesy cartoon faces. But then the Cinnabon, they have given alluring bedroom eyes, and she's, of course, like most cinnamon buns, she is covered in goo leaking down her face, and it's got this, like, real, like, look to it, you know? And I made a little song about it. And by song, I mean it's like 30 seconds, and it's just literally describing what I'm looking at. And for some reason, that's the most, like, hate comments I've gotten in a long time. People saying, like, I'm disgusting for sexualizing this thing. And I'm like, guys, some fucking cartoonist, presumably a dude, made this in, like, the late 90s or early 2000s. And he gave it, like, Marilyn Monroe eyelashes that none of the other ones have. He covered it in goo, which people were like, yeah, it's a cinnamon bun. Like, they just have that, you weirdo. And it was such a weird fake posturing of, like, I'm a better person than you because I've never even thought about sex, let alone had it. And I'm just fucking tired of these, you know, these fucking virgins coming out of the woodwork to try to make you feel bad for cracking a joke at the expense of the sexualized cinnamon bun drawing. I mean, I don't want to ramble too hard on this, you know, because Lord only knows they're coming back for me. You know, I think they're not done. I think they're digging into my past. They're pulling out old tweets where I made disparaging remarks about cinnamon buns, and they're finding a cohesive pattern where I repeatedly sexualize pastries. an unacceptable thing to do. And in one of the top comments, one of the first comments that someone made was like, "Oh my God, people literally can't look at anything with a woman without sexualizing it." And I answered back like, "Hi, I'm gay. I wouldn't do that." And then the rest of the comments all of a sudden were about like, "Oh, gay men are so sexist. They need to be studied." That was a comment that got quite a few likes, was the misogyny of gay men should be studied. And I was like, first of all, don't throw out all the other gay guys with me. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If I'm a piece of garbage, that's one thing. But like, don't fucking like the speed with which heterosexual women in these comments, and I guess some of them could have been non-heterosexual as well, but that doesn't change the content of what they said. Like, the number of people who were rushing to find any excuse to be like, and here's the problem with gay men. I was like, I get a sneaking suspicion that like you've got some other stuff going on. But who knows? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I really was out of line for saying a cinnamon bun looked like a quote sticky whore. Because I did use the word whore, and I did do that knowing that some people would assume it was probably misogynistic or something. To which I would say, the caption of the video was, "I say this with all due respect to my fellow whores." I was calling myself a whore the whole time. Like, from the caption of the video, I have proudly identified myself as a whore, which I think is an accurate label, frankly. I think that nicely summarizes who I am. And I don't know. This clearly it's stuck in my craw somewhat because it's been months and I'm bringing it up to you guys. But yeah, I don't know. It just bothered me because it was like people are so anti-sex. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. You know, it's everybody's either like sexualizing women who are doing nothing, which I agree. Yeah, bad. Don't do that. You know. But also, then people are like mad if you see sex where there is sex. They kind of go too far the other way, or they act like anything remotely sexual is like evil and must be burned. On a couple of non-starters videos, there are comments that are like, "Oh my God, I'm so grateful that someone's doing an adult cartoon that's not about sex, and it's not dirty, and it's not inappropriate." And I was like, well, one, if it's for adults, that is appropriate because adults are allowed to talk about whatever they'd like. And two, I guess they just see the one cartoon and then leave that comment, and it's like, yeah, but the rest of them are dirty. Come on, guys. Come on, I'm drawing asses. Let's not make me out to be something I'm not. Anyway, yeah, I love drawing naked people, and the internet can never change that. And that Cinnabon, oh boy, nothing could be sexier. Okay, I've spent a lot of time on this Nightwing drawing, actually. Sorry, guys. Sorry I got so worked up about the Cinnabon. Maybe I need to re-examine, you know? It's entirely possible that I was out of line. I did call a cartoon cutout of a Cinnabon a whore. Granted, I did it at the same time I called myself a whore. So clearly I don't consider that a bad thing to be. And I don't know why people were so offended about this instead of like real bad things going on. But, you know, maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am, you know, maybe there's a way to joke about these things and to proudly call myself a slut without ever impugning the honor of a cardboard cutout that was for sure drawn by a dude, you know. And definitely it was just me being angry about sex, you know. It wasn't, you know, all the weird people just tell you so much about themselves when they leave these comments, you know. They'll kind of like tell on themselves a little when they're like, "Oh my God, I would literally never think about something dirty in my whole life." And it's like, that's great. The chess club is over there. I'm gonna go do adult things because I grew up and you didn't, and that's fine, you know. Like the rest of us are busy, you know, fucking like get out of here, you fucking dweeb. Anyway, hi Cameron. Thanks for coming in. You caught me screaming about how I love to draw butts and the and society will never understand me. Here we are. We're finishing up a quick drawing of Nightwing with his butt out. Someone asked for a drawing of Nightwing, and gosh darn it, if you're gonna ask Danny Holt to draw Nightwing, you're gonna get a butt. That's the guarantee. Isn't that what it says on my banner, on my banner image on the page? Doesn't it say Danny Holt will draw Nightwing's ass if you ask him to draw Nightwing at all? There we go. So going back, gonna do something a little simpler with the shadows on this. I'm not on the hook to do quite so much work. There we go. There we go. So now, I feel like we've established that the light must be coming from like over here somewhere. Am I crazy? Is that what we're implying with this? I don't know. I don't know why I always feel like I need to make it make sense when you're doing superhero like costume stuff, because if you look at real published superhero comics, they're never going with, oh well geez, the light source is coming from over here, so we couldn't possibly add a little extra highlight on Batman's costume. They just do it anyway because it looks better, you know? Why am I being so silly and literal with my thinking? Just whatever looks best for the image. That's the way it ought to be. Did we all love that I did that Scottish accent for 4 seconds? Did that make this funny? Are you guys mad about the Cinnabon thing? You can be honest. You know, if I'm out of line, you know, if I should stop making dirty things and, you know, be repressed like everyone else. You know, there we go. Now, this is an okay drawing of Nightwing turning around to look at his own incredible ass, but I feel like it needs a little pop of color, don't you? I knew a man once named Papa Color. He's good people. I don't know why I'm giving this like a background, but here we are. Doing some quick shitty buildings in the background. Yeah. So, who likes who? You know, some kind of a Nightwing. Let me see what people say. Dooba-dooba-doo. Oh, everybody left. Wow, that's... No, I'm kidding. Draw your favorite stooge from the Three Stooges, Shemp included. But of course Shemp is included. Shemp is one of the three, no? Of course, there are more than three, but you know. I can't be within 25 feet of a bakery, I'll tell you right now. Goodbye, Batsy. Draw a random character from the Doomies. Any character? I haven't watched the Doomies yet, but sure, why not? Hello, Powerhouse. Good to see ya. Let's see. Just to finish the cinnamon bit. 90% of Hellboy is shadows. You're darn right. Okay, what was I supposed to draw? Oh, someone told me to do something and I can't remember anymore. So someone wants me to draw Shemp from the Three Stooges, which I guess is easy. Okay, and then a character from the Doomies. Let me just look up the Doomies real quick. That's that new Disney show, right? There's a YouTuber I really like who talks about James Bond movies and stuff. His name's Calvin Dyson. It's a great YouTuber. Been watching him for years and years, and for sure when I was like a teenager watching YouTube, had a crush on him and his little British accent talking about James Bond. But he worked in some capacity on the Doomies. I think he was like an executive producer or something. I don't think he's at Disney now, but I think he used to be at Disney. Anyways, YouTube videos are great. If you love James Bond, sure check him out. Cool dude. Cool dude. Make fun videos. I always watch. I like this. The Doomies, these characters look cute. I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that in a very complimentary way. Okay, so I am just looking at one image of these characters, so I don't actually know much about the show. Keep that in mind in case I screw it up. But do people like the Doomies? Is this a good show people are watching? Why do I always sound like I'm a time traveler from the year 1850? Why is that my affectation? Couldn't I be like the other kids, play sports? I feel like it's kind of round looking, and I feel like I'm making them too pointy at the moment. They do have dots for eyes, and I do love dots for eyes. There we go. Used to hate dots for eyes when I was a kid, and I don't know why, but it became the way I draw just about everything. I do like these characters. These look fun. I don't know. I don't know what expression I'm going for here. They've got kind of that rounded mouth that cartoon characters often have. Oh, the people on the internet, I'm sure, were whining about them having round mouths. You know, it's funny because people will complain about, like, oh my god, cartoons all look the same now. And I do kind of think, like, I'm sure people were saying that shit in the 50s when they looked what we think now is like the best look ever, like the Chuck Jones Looney Tunes and the like middle era of Tom and Jerry and everything. I'm sure all of those were people, like, there were people in the 50s rolling their eyes going, oh, everything looks the same. When I was a kid, they would Bugs Bunny had like he had like a big egg-shaped head, and now he's just like this Chuck Jones crap. Everybody's got the same mouth. I'm sure in the 50s when everything got really angular and UPA-ish, people hated that too, just like they hate on whatever design trends are popular right now. And in 20 years, when everything looks different, people will be trying to draw stuff that looks like Inside Job and Hoops. Wow, I love that aesthetic where the characters have the round mouths. There we go. So that's a character from the Doomies, a show I've not yet seen, which I will definitely check out. All right, about 9 o'clock. If anyone has any requests, we'll try to get to that real quick, and then we'll probably wrap up quick. It's a short stream. Oh, that's right. Somebody wanted Whirl from Transformers. Someone says, can you draw Ronnie with a pina colada? I can maybe do that. First, I have to draw this character. His name is Whirl from Transformers. Transformers. Is that fun for you guys that I just sat there and kind of... Oh, I'm sorry, I bumped the microphone. You can all yell at me. Whirl is an attack helicopter. Whirl, Transformers. Helicopter. Let me see, does this character... Oh, okay, I'm seeing the character you're talking about. Do they have a face that I can draw? Do you watch the Jellies? No, I haven't seen the Jellies. Is the Jellies good? I haven't seen, like, anything. You have to understand. You have to understand. I'm an old man. I'm 25, right? But everything I enjoy is from either 100 years ago or no one's ever heard of it. Okay, Whirl. So I'm looking at Whirl. A very interesting face I'm seeing. I made sure to look up the IDW comics, like you said. Very interesting. Not the typical kind of thing I draw, but happy to try for you. Happy to always try new things, because that's what, like, keeps us young, and that's what keeps us going in life, is like trying the new things. This looks very much like a Doug Chiang, he was the concept artist on the Star Wars prequels. Feels very much like his art style. He has such a great way. If you look up the like original concept drawings for all the prequels and stuff, and he's kept working on stuff after that, obviously. But he was a huge influence on the prequel stuff. If you look at it, there's just such an interesting shape language, and it is still so like rooted in illustration. It's not purely mechanical or something, but really interesting artist. Doug Chiang, which is spelled like Chiang, I think. I think it's like Chi-ang, I think is how it's spelled, which for all I know is meant to be pronounced differently, and I'm being rude because I heard someone else say it wrong, but anyhow, I'm sure someone will be polite and correct me if I'm wrong about that. And then after this, I guess we'll do the Ronnie Pina Colada thing. I don't know. Don't totally know why. Feel bad. I feel like I might be just doing a little bit too much copying here and not making it enough my own new drawing. But at the same time, Transformers, you're talking very technical designs on these guys. So I don't want to get it too wrong. Make it too funky looking. Okay. Hopefully this is starting to take some form of shape. There we go. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Monsters, Inc. song keeps getting stuck in my head. That little... That thing. The intro music. It's getting stuck in my head. Theme to Monsters, Inc. by Randy Newman. Okay, and then he's got, like, one of those, what's the Japanese cartoon? Evangelion? He's got one of those Evangelion necks. I've never seen a second of their show. But there's a Justice League from the Justice League animated series. There's a robot design that's like directly meant to look like a Neon Genesis Evangelion robot, like on purpose, as an homage. I think that's in the episode Legends. Yeah, that's right. The things I care about, I'm weirdly specific about, and then everything else, I don't know what the hell it is. Okay, let me go through and add a little highlight in here. There we go. So that's kind of what he looks like, except he's got this this other very asymmetrical looking head going on here. Okay. I think that's kind of what the character looked like in the illustration I saw. And then, you know, robot stuff goes on down here. Nah, that looked worse. I thought it would make it better. I made it work. There we go. So is that, did I do the right whirl? Who knows? Maybe I was drawing the wrong one. 25, wowza. Is that because I'm old or young? Who's to say? Somebody wanted me to draw Mouse PI for hire. Okay, so I'll do Mouse PI for hire, and then I'll do Ronnie with a pina colada, right? And then we'll do that. Did you watch the Monsters Inc. sequel? Oh, do you mean the TV show? Because I saw the prequel, which was Monsters University. And that was fun. Oh well, goodbye, Marsha B. If you're home now, I'm very glad you drove sober. I'm answering a person's chat. If you're just listening and you can't see the chat, I'm answering something someone said about driving. And now we're moving on to me drawing Mouse PI for hire. I believe my little brother very much enjoys this video game and has been playing it quite a bit. I have not begun yet to play it, but it certainly looks aesthetically charming. So, got big old-timey cartoon mouth. See, this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, this feels more like the kind of stuff people would assume I'm into, you know, because it's old-fashioned. It's old-timey, it's cartoons, you know, it's all the Danny Holt stuff. I don't know why I became an old-timey person. I really didn't choose to. These things just sort of occur, and we've got no way around them. Is that a cigarette in his mouth or like a toothpick? I haven't played the game. This is the problem with trying to draw a character when you're a fake fan like me. Okay, he doesn't always have the thing in his teeth, so we'll just kind of omit it. Okay, there we go. Got big cartoon teeth. Kind of ugly teeth, but I guess that's on purpose because he's doing sort of a scowl. Right. And then why don't I give him like half-lidded eyes, like he's a cool guy. Really cool, this mouse. Yeah, the eyes touch in the middle. I feel like eyes touching in the middle might not be such a 1920. Like he's got like a real 1920s look. But I feel like eyes touching in the middle. Am I crazy? Is that more like 30s, like Goofy? What am I saying? I'm splitting hairs. You can for sure find drawings of Goofy with these eyes. So I'm being annoying and pedantic, but what else is new? Okay, and then he's got a bowler cap. Not a bowler cap, a fedora. Interesting way to draw a fedora. That must be, you know, the kind of natural way to draw a fedora, right? Because I feel like whenever I need to draw hats, I feel like I make it overcomplicated, which is part of why the one guy in Non-Starters who wears a hat, it's so simple. It's like trying to stop myself from even thinking about it. Just like, yeah, it's a swirl. Doesn't really need to be dimensional. Not everything's gotta be so literal. Oh god, he's doing voices because he thinks he's being boring. But he doesn't realize the voice is just as boring. Okay, there we go. You got a thin little neck. There we go. impression of a tie. And he says, yeah. Why does he say it? I don't know. But he does. Okay, and then I think the last thing we had was somebody wanted a Shemp and Ronnie drink a pina colada. I did watch that Monsters Inc. TV show, Monsters at Work. Yeah, that was okay. I think I never finished the second season, but I watched the whole first season, I know. Okay. One way I see how to make things my own is by looking at fan art of the character. You see what people emphasize and what they simplify. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That sounds like good advice. Whenever I need to draw something, I just look at like 100 pictures of it and kind of go from there. Oh, I just said out loud what it was. Oh, Shemp. Somebody wants me to draw Shemp because we're nice and modern here. Shemp. Gotta Google Shemp. There's actually a character. There's this episode of Batman the Animated Series called Paging the Crime Doctor. I think it's a great episode. Paging the Crime Doctor, and the like main henchman in that episode, I swear on my life, is a drawing of Shemp. Like it just looks like him in a way that you would not have landed on that combination of facial features accidentally. You know, like it just looks exactly like him, down to the weird like middle part hair and everything. Um, and so I'm convinced that like whatever character designer did that, just was like looking for inspiration and went, oh, Three Stooges, that'd be a fun design for a one-off henchman. But there's a lot of characters in those DC cartoons where I'm like pretty sure they're meant to be a caricature of someone. Just as when you're designing characters, you just need inspiration from somewhere. You can't just keep coming up with infinite faces and having them without them all starting to look the same. And especially in a cartoon show, all the characters kind of already have the same look. You know what I mean? Like, and I know those DC cartoons, some people would like slam them for that sometimes, but I don't think it's any more egregious there than it is in like any major animated show. Shemp just has so many lines on his weird little face. Okay, yeah, he's got like the full like. Man, entertainers used to just look like such battered. You know what I mean? Like such battered, weathered people. Oh, he's coming out real ugly as I'm drawing him. This looks like a Smiling Friends version of Shemp. This would be if there was like a 5-second cutaway on a Smiling Friends where they were watching the Three Stooges. They would all look this old and haggard. Yeah. So that's kind of a Shemp. I don't know. All right, I admit the Three Stooges, not my area of expertise. I probably could have done the other ones so much simpler because they have so much funnier, such crazier facial features. But let's do Ronnie drinking a pina colada, and then I think we're done with this one. This has been a nice short little stream. Thanks to everybody who came out for this one. Ronnie has a big square head. Somebody asked me, Sage of Spring Roll Soup, do you find traditional art or digital apps easier for doodling? To which I would say, I think I mentioned it earlier, I much prefer doing the traditional art. Oh, somebody said, please do Kick-Ass. Oh, the character Kick-Ass. Okay. I thought someone was requesting that I just start hurting people. And I was about to do it for the attention, honestly. But, all right, we'll do a quick Kick-Ass. And then Ronnie, and then we're done for the day. What does Kick-Ass look like? I saw the movie Kick-Ass precisely one time. Never caught the other one. Or read the comic. So I'm a big fake fan and a loser, and that's what you need to know. Okay. His little area where he can see through. It's kind of rounded. Like athletic gear would be. Right? He's got like those like not like Kubrick psychopath eyes, but those eyes where you're like, your head, as if your head was tilted down. Okay, I'm looking at the illustrated version, not the movie one, in case you can't tell from the fact that I'm commenting on like eye shape and stuff. I don't know what it would be to do the actor plays Kick-Ass. I don't know what actor played Kick-Ass actually, off the top of my head. I know Nicolas Cage is in the movie, but he's the what's the guy, Daddy or whatever the fucking thing is. Oh, when you said your dreams came true, I did not know what you mean. I don't dream. I don't dream. Yeah, all right. He's got lines on his head. But these days, who doesn't? Oh, okay. Not my greatest off the cuff doodle here, but we're getting a little closer to something that looks like a person. Okay. There we go. I always have it always impresses me when people come up with a good design for something as simple as like a flat mask. Because I feel like anytime I try to come up with one, I like think I'm coming up with some good shapes or whatever, and then it's always like, nope, somebody else did that. You're being stupid. It's very famous and it's taken. I'm always like, ah, shoot. Okay. I want his head to be a little wider at the top than it is at the bottom. Yeah, there we go. That'll kind of the thing. If you make his like forehead bigger, I think it makes him look more like a kid in a mask, teenager. Oh shoot, hang on. There we go. And now we'll give him a neck. Okay, he's got like thin little shoulders. Yeah. Okay. And then I think the pattern here, something like that. And then he's got lines here. Okay, there you go. That's a pretty functional drawing of Kick-Ass. Presuming that you meant the comic book character Kick-Ass, which I think is what you were saying. Okay. You get like 2 pieces of his hair like stick out too much. I think that'd be good. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay. So there's Kick-Ass. And now, what do we have in chat? Something about fake shimps. Something about them Sam Raimi fake shimps. What if you did an episode where Dodson, this is again from our Chevy, what if you did an episode where Dodson gets weirdly very detailed hats and he does not acknowledge them but continues? I'm sorry, someone whose name is His Antion. You asked earlier if I can hear you, and then just now you sent the word please. I don't know what you've requested, but it doesn't seem to be popping up. I apologize. If there's like a swear word in it, that might be why. Okay. Here we go. Someone has written nobody is a loser, and then another person has responded loser is a nobody. Will Dodson have a villain arc? No, I don't think any of them get a villain arc. I think they're all, I want to make something a lot more chill than that. Okay, here we go. For a while I thought Dodson's name was Dawson. Well, that's all right. Nobody needs to know their names. They're just cartoon characters. Draw Ronnie and Valerie Ellen. Well, son, why did I get recommended an hour after the fact? That's okay. It's nice to see you again. Cheese Nuts, I think it was Cheesum, not Chisholm, right? Cheesum. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Kick-Ass. Oh, that's why I can't remember, because I have that disease where I can't remember anyone who's in the movie Kraven the Hunter, except Russell Crowe. There we go. So I'll have Valerie Ellen with him as he sips this pina colada. Oh, they'll do it like Archie Comics. And he'll be a little unsettled by this because he's an anxious little weirdo. I do love Valerie Ellen, and Valerie Ellen is a character who will be, when non-starters is longer than 3-second shorts, she'll be quite a frequent character in it. It feels funny to talk about a thing that you're making as if it's like a real show that anyone will watch, but I guess people do watch when I make things, so I have to, like, I guess it's not that weird, but it feels weird because I'm just talking about characters who like live in a notebook of mine, and then I, write little stories about them, and now people want to watch those stories, which is very flattering. Don't draw Ronnie looking a little confused about what's going on here. Like I said, I'd love to find someone to do Ronnie's voice other than me. Just there's too many characters on my channel who already sound like me. And I feel like because he's the one with the quote unquote normal voice, he'd be the one that's the best to replace. And then, you know, it would just be nice. I don't know. Hear a little less of my own voice every day. Already getting quite a bit of me. She actually has Valerie Ellen. I feel like her lips are a similar shape to Ronnie's. Perfect for kissing. You know that thing where if you go on a date with someone and their lips are a different shape than yours, you like can't kiss. That famous thing that happened to all of us one time. Man, before they invented the lip adapters and we could all kiss whoever we liked, that was a real rough one. I love my little made up characters. I do. I'm the same as everyone else with their notebook full of OCs, except I feel the need to force the world to look at my OCs. Which, to be fair, is what, every cartoonist is doing. Okay. And then Valerie Ellen, how does her hairline go? I think it's like that. She's only been in the one short so far, but I have a lot of like little bits of development art of her and stuff. I love Valerie Ellen. It's funny when you make up a character and you're like, I like that one. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you made them up. And it's like, yeah, but sometimes they just come out better. And Valerie Ellen, I want her to be like kind of a crystal shop girl, like kind of a hippy dippy character. And I love characters like that. And she, visually, I'm sure this is a thing no one would ever just assume naturally, but because it's not that close of a resemblance. But when I made her up, I wanted her to look a little bit like Shirley MacLaine, the beloved movie star, Shirley MacLaine, if you don't know. What used to be very famous because she was like a total hippie, like a new age, like crystals kind of guy, or gal, I guess. But Shirley MacLaine, one of my favorite movie stars, and a huge like crystal wackadoo, and so I wanted to have a character like that, and that's kind of what Valerie Ellen is going to be. She's also, you know, just a fun like I sometimes people forget like it is fun to just occasionally have a character who's like happy, you know. So many of my characters are miserable little people. I think Valerie Ellen and Tucker kind of shine to me because they seem like people who make other people happy. Am I being too sappy talking about my little OCs, my little notebook characters? Ronnie's hair is a little too long here. It's funny to make up a cartoon character and then constantly go like, ugh, I'm drawing his hair off model. It's like, buddy, I could have just made it a square. Like, why did I do this? Why did I give him such a nebulous construct of hair? And yet there is a right balance to it. Sometimes it looks really good, in my opinion, and then other times it looks really bad. And unfortunately, this is one of the times where it's just going to look bad. Let's see. Can you draw toes, please? Is toes a character, or do you want me to just draw someone's feet? I can draw feet. You know? I mean, I'm not a foot guy, but we've been pretty equal opportunity with the whole pin-up thing tonight. So if you'd like to look at some feet, you know, I'll do a quick one. And he's a little dummy. There we go. She has little crystal earrings and a crystal necklace because she's a hippie chick. Someone says that they mix up Andy Samberg and Michael Cera. My. I was only say that because Tucker and Ronnie. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Oh, I don't think anyone will have a villain arc. Just because the Tucker and Ronnie fake fight, I think is. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you to say. The guy 480. I'm glad when people are inspired to make things. Somebody wants me to make Ronnie blushing. I feel like he's a little more confused than blushing, but I can make him blush. How good is Tucker at cooking chicken? Tucker is a vegan, so I think he sucks at cooking chicken. Make an episode where Tucker signs up for a hot dog eating contest. I told you I'm not trying to make out and out pornography here. Sorry. Am I not allowed to say? Do you love the toes of classic Hanna-Barbera characters? Okay, well, tell you what. Let me do a quick. No. There's no ulterior suggestion. Somebody just wants a nice drawing of some toes. So here we go. Now, when Fred Flintstone, if you look at Fred Flintstone's feet, you'll notice Fred Flintstone, he's only got 3 toes. And yet they call him, in the show, watch the Flintstones, they call him Twinkle Toes, because when he goes bowling, he goes ding, 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 and he walks around on his little tippy toes. But he's only got 3 toes per foot. So how's that happening? Hannah and Barbara, both of you, get in here. Answer me some questions, my guy. These are how the Flintstones' feet look. Now, here's the thing, Spamulus. You're saying you meant like a Joey Chestnut hot dog eating contest, but let me tell you right now. Okay? If Tucker, my fictional character Tucker, is going to end up in any sort of hot dog eating contest, it will be an adult hot dog eating contest. And I think you know what I mean. He is meant to be vegan though, so I don't think he would, what happened to the one guy? There was the one guy who wanted tofu dogs instead of the, he wanted to participate, but he wanted to participate with like tofu dogs and they wouldn't let him. I am actually just going to draw a pair of feet right now for this nice person who politely commented asking for some toes. And what's so bad about that? Why are we all so mean to the foot people, huh? Are we any less strange than the foot folk? I mean, I'm not, but that's, nobody needs to hear about what I got going on. Nobody needs to know what my deal is. But that being said, God bless the foot people, because I'm envious of how simple it is. They're like, oh my God, I love feet, and I'll like pay money to look at feet, and I'm always like, is that really all it takes? Is like you like that part of the body? Because like I like butts, I hope that's not too offensive or shocking to anyone that I, a grown gay man, enjoy the buttocks, right? So like I like butts, but like the foot people, like they're just like, oh my God, I love feet, and I'm always like, yeah, I really like butts, but just like I wouldn't just pay to look at a picture of one. The foot people seem to really love feet. Okay, here's about what a foot looks like. There you go. That's a good little cartoony foot. I would say that the line weight is stepping on this one a little bit. Just, I want a thicker line weight on the outside of these, but I also want them to feel right. There we go. That's a foot, and then the other foot, I guess, would be kind of here on the ground, right? Sorry, I draw kind of lumpy feet. I don't think it's very sexy, but whatever, I don't know what makes a sexy foot. Am I crazy? Like, I don't know what the foot people like. Someone says, I'm sorry I mix up your character names when I mean the one with the Bob's Burgers voice. That's all right. I do sound very much. I do sound very much like the guy from the Bob's Burgers. I get that all the time, but there's a difference, right? Because I'm Dodson, the fictional character from the independent video and soon-to-be cartoon series called Non-Starters, right? And I talk like this. And Teddy talks like this, and it's totally different. We're not even remotely the same. I don't know. I think I understand why people would get confused. Yeah, I get it. In the first video, he does literally just have a Teddy voice. Like, it's me doing my very best to impersonate Teddy in that first one. So, there we go. So these are some feet. The second one's a lot crummier than the first one, but whatever. You're getting your foot fix for free today. There's your toes, my guy. I say with a little bit of mockery, but it's gentle, loving mockery. God bless the foot people. Okay, I think I'm going to be wrapping up in a minute. I would pay good money to see Tucker in an adult hot dog eating contest. Thanks, man. That would be great. If I could get paid. You know what they say? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Yeah, so anyway, this is Tucker, which is this voice. I don't know why I'm referring to myself in, like, the third person, man. This is Tucker in a quote-unquote funny hat. This is just a drawing of Winnie the Pooh, but it's not quite on model. Kirby. Vivian Cartoonish. Scooby-Doo wearing a hat, and then Scrappy-Doo's popping out from under the hat, but I'll tell you right now, that is an off-model Scrappy-Doo. Just a fish woman with no specifics about what a fish woman would be.
Gam Gam in a one-piece bathing suit, crawling on the hood of a car. Porky Pig looking majorly depressed. Character from Deltarune. Nightwing's ass. Finally, something with some culture behind it. You know, I have problems, but it's not terrible. Character from the Doomies. Okay, very nice. Oh, this is a Transformer whose name is Whirl, I think. And then we have Mouse for Hire, Private Eye. And then this was supposed to be Shemp, but it became some sort of a monster man. Dare I say, a fake Shemp. And then this is Ronnie and Valerie Ellen, and they're sharing a pina colada, frozen pina colada. And you know what? It's not a pina colada unless you've got Little Umbrella. There you go. Little Umbrella. Gotta have them, dude. Otherwise, it's like, are you even having a tropical drink, you know? There's Ronnie and Valerie Allen, and they're splitting a pina colada. There's some toes, but they're Flintstone feet. And there's some normal feet, because the guy just wanted me to draw some toes today. And then finally, here's the character Kick-Ass, who is definitely played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, an actor whose name, like, I know and remember. Okay, so thanks everyone for tuning in. I think I got most of the stuff. You guys are great. Yeah, no, definitely save the feet for last, because they are, of course, the primary focus of art. Someone says, Tucker, how you doing? I'm great. I don't exist, and I'm stoned out of my mind. So what could be better than that? Thanks everyone for coming out. I'm gonna wrap up now. Somebody says, can you draw Eddie from Ed, Edd n Eddy? Yeah, Eddie's the, like... I guess Tucker can also draw, because I'm still doing the voice. What does Eddie look like? I feel like his head's shaped like a fucking tooth or something. I'm trying to wrap up, but here we go. This is what Eddie from Ed, Edd n Eddy looks like. I'm trying to go from memory here. Okay, he's got a big tongue. But their tongues were, like, huge. Okay, hang on. He's got a giant tongue. And they were, like, blue. They were always blue. They had, like, blue tongues. Like the Canker Sisters. Oh, the word. I gotta tell you, I watched a lot of Ed, Edd n Eddy. I have no idea if I enjoyed any of it, because all my memories of it are, like, terrifying. What's his nose shaped like? But it's just like this. And then his eyes. Let's see. Is this what they look like? Is this Ed, Edd n Eddy? Hang on. And then he's got, like, a 90s middle-aged man bowling shirt. Like a Bowling for Soup guy would have. There we go. Yeah. Sorry I didn't Google a reference picture, but there's Eddie. Okay, thanks everybody. Someone says, wait, Tucker, is Ronnie and Dodson with you? Oh, yeah, no, for sure they are. Let me do my great impressions of them.
Hi there. I'm Dodson. My first name is Bob, which is not a good first name, but I'm stuck with it because that was my name in the first video, I guess. And let's see what else is there. Ronnie. Ronnie, you say something.
I feel like it's anticlimactic for me to be involved, because I just sound like Danny Holt talking, which is one of many reasons I would love to recast. Would love to recast the character of Ronnie. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the voice. Thanks everybody for coming out. Somebody asked me if it's hard to talk like this for so long. Not really, no. It actually doesn't hurt to do this voice, like, at all. The scratchy part of it is not bad. It's like I have to, like, squeeze my throat to do it, so, like, that can be a little tiresome after a while. But I'm not, like, actually scratching my throat when I do this. It just sounds scratchy because I'm squeezing my throat tighter. And thanks for everybody for coming out. You're all great. And yeah, I have to hit the stop button. I can't find it. I'm not being funny.